Okay, this is probably the easiest review I've had to make. Now, we have the regular Note 12, which is basically just a Note 11, except maybe with Android 12. Victor Praise made a video on that, so I'll leave that link below. But this is different. This is the Note 12 G96. But how different is it? Well, in a sentence or two, it's basically the Note 11 with a better chipset, Android 12, and a new design. That's it. Like, that's the review. You could literally click out now. Bye. You're still here? I should keep talking? Okay, let's dive in. Now, in the Note 12 series, I think this is going to sell the most because of its price, especially when compared to the VIP. So, since more people would be buying this, potentially, let's properly review it. Okay, I still stand by the fact that this is pretty similar to the Note 11. So in this review, we'll mainly focus on what's new. They've refreshed the design. It does feel different in hand from the Note 11. It feels sort of wider and definitely more sturdy. Now, the dimensions aren't exactly the same with the Note 11, but the difference is pretty minimal. But for some reason, it just feels really different. On the back, we've got a triple camera setup in a rectangular camera bump. The back and frame is made of plastic, and I have it in this white finish called Snowfall, which, just like the Note 11, changes to this yellowish color when light hits it. The back is also matte and doesn't show fingerprint marks or smudges, which is always a good thing. It's a pretty minimal look, and at first I thought I wasn't a fan of this design, but it kinda has grown on me. Flipping to the front, it turns out the bezels are a little bit more now. It still retains the U-shaped notch and the 1080p AMOLED display. It also is still a 60Hz display. So the exact same display, I presume, but with a bit more bezel. Now, although it's a 60Hz display, I think the display is pretty good. AMOLED is just so nice to look at, and as a plus, it does come with an always-on display. Now, aside from the not so great experience when scrolling thanks to 60Hz, you will enjoy the look of this display. I would say though that there are cheaper phones with a 90Hz display, so the fact that we don't have one here is definitely a letdown. Android 12 is also new. It's running XOS 10.6 on top of Android 12, and like I said in the VIP video, there isn't a lot of visual changes, especially when you compare it to Material U. The tiles in the notification center are green when on, and yeah, it would have been nice if the colors could be changed. Like, there are some additions and privacy features still, but I just feel like the average user would be more excited by a lot more customization options. Now, it does have screen recording, live transcribe, which works really well, and I think is super useful. We've got some improvements to Phalanx, we've got peak proof, and a bunch of other features we typically see on Infinix phones. There are still two problems with software for me though. One is the quite constant couple of pre-installed apps that keep sending unwanted notifications, and two is the lack of future major OS updates. Now, the first can be easily solved by you, while the other can only be solved by Infinix. So, over to you guys. The Helio G96, which we saw on the more expensive VIP, is also present here. I mean, you probably knew that because it's on the name. And like I said in that video, you wouldn't have any troubles running everyday tasks on here. The chipset is capable enough for such and does really well when running multiple applications at the same time. It's not the best when it comes to gaming, but at this price, it's probably the best chipset you can find for overall performance. It comes with more RAM than the Note 11 at 8GB, plus up to 5GB with memory fusion, and has a storage capacity of up to 256GB, and there's still room for expandable storage. So for me, performance is the major difference between this and last year's phone, because even the cameras, I believe, are the exact same as last year. But perhaps there might be some improvements on the software side of things. Would have perhaps been cool to do a side-by-side comparison, but I don't have the Note 11 anymore. As far as the quality goes, the main 50 megapixel sensor I think does a really good job. Just pointing and shooting will get you pretty good images, but if you set focus, adjust exposure, you will definitely end up with a much better image. Dynamic range is spot on even with these selfie cameras, but these selfies, in my opinion, need a little bit more saturation. Portrait mode is my least favorite as it lacks detail, but do let me know your thoughts down in the comments. For video, it shoots up to 2K with no stabilization, and I was pretty pleased with what came out of it, especially how it handled dynamic range. The selfie camera kind of struggled though, but I would say overall I was pretty pleased with the cameras. It also has a 5000 mAh battery, which is just like the Note 11, and although it might not have the ridiculous 120 watt charging brick of the VIP, it has a pretty respectable 33 watt charger, just like last year. At least we're still getting a charger, right? Samsung. Depending on your use case, this can last you an entire day. It definitely did for me. And a couple of hours of charging overnight will definitely fill it up. Now, I think the Note 12 G96 is a weird one, because on one hand, its features are really close to the Note 11, and on the other hand, its price is really close to the Note 11 Pro. So it's kind of like, which phone does it succeed? Is it the Note 11 or the Note 11 Pro? I'm not quite sure. But I'll nudge towards the Note 11 because it's closer in features, like almost identical features, and because of the terrible exchange rates, we have seen prices go up in smartphones, especially here in Nigeria. So I would say, yeah, it's probably the successor to the Note 11. Now, should you upgrade from your Note 11 to the Note 12 G96? No. But if you are looking to get a new phone in the Note 12 series, do I recommend the Note 12 G96? Yes. I feel like this is the sweet spot. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the Note 12 G96. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you when you see me.